Good morning, students. Today's topic is federalism. This chapter is linked with the previous chapter of power sharing. So, federalism is the main concept that is linked with the vertical division of power among different levels of the government. So, it is one of the forms of power sharing in the modern democracies. It is also regarded as federalism. Now, concept of federalism, it came into being when there was a need for the proper working, that is power sharing should be there. So it is a system of government in which the power is divided between a central authority and a various constituent units of the country. Constituent unit varies from one country to another. Normally, federalism has at least two levels of government. One that is for the entire government, that is responsible for few subjects of common national interest. That means some working that should be common for the whole country. Now, other one is at the level of either provinces or it could be state government, depending on the country whether it is having various states or having provinces. So the second level of working is provincial government or state government that look after much of the day-to-day administering of that state, of that particular state. Now both the levels of government, they enjoy their own power. They are independent of each other in some respect, not in every concept, but in some respect they are independent of each other according to what is written in the constitution of that particular country. So there is a contrast between federal government and a unitary form of government to make you understand the proper concept of federal government. Federal government also varies from one country to another, but there is a difference in the working of a federal government and unitary government. Both federal government and unitary government could be democratic. So first, the unitary system, in that system either there is only one single level of government, or even if there are other subordinate units, they are working under the central government. They can't work on their own, as the central government only can pass the orders. That means whatever is passed by the central government, the state or the provincial government in a unitary system has to accept it. Now, as contrast to this system, in a federal system, central government cannot order the state government to do something in certain areas, as the central government has the power of its own for which it is not answerable to the central government. Both the governments are separately answerable to the people. That means central government and state government in a federal government is answerable to the people in a different manner. Now, what are the main key features of federalism? That means how you can differentiate whether a government is having a federal way of working or not. So number one, in federalism or federal way of working, there are either two or more levels or two or more tiers of government. So levels, they are also called tiers of government, that is different levels of government. So these tiers have their own jurisdiction that is written in the constitution of that country regarding legislation, taxation and administration. That means central government has its own area. Jurisdiction means an area over which someone has the legal authority. I am having a legal authority of teaching you SST. I can't interfere in your subject matter of maths. So, same way, every tier or every level of the government has its own area of working regarding legislation, laws to be passed, taxation, or administration, how it is going to work. So, all that area, working area, is being described in the constitution of that country. Now, existence and authority of each tier is constitutionally guaranteed. That means it is guaranteed by the constitution of that country. So whatever area is provided to me, working area, my jurisdiction area, it is written in the constitution, so it is guaranteed. That means nobody can change it. And if changes has to be made, it requires the consent of both the levels of the government. That means if a country is having two levels, so both the levels, they have to accept to make the changes. One single level can't make decision on its own. Now, if there is any problem, so in that case court plays a key role to interpret the constitution and the power of different levels of the government. So if changes had to be done and the working of both the levels, they are not able to work out in a proper manner, in that case court play a major role. So the Supreme Court plays the role of an umpire. Federal system has dual objective, two objectives. There are two objectives of federal system. Number one, it saves and promotes the unity of the country. That means it tries that everybody is safe, and besides this, safety doesn't mean that the unity of country is going to be at stake. So nobody can challenge the unity of the country on the name that I need the protection. Also, it tries to accommodate regional diversity. So second point is that it acceptance. Accommodation means acceptance of regional diversity. That means besides maintaining, safeguarding the unity of the country, it also tries that the regional diversity, the differences in the various differences that exist in India, if we are taking the example of India, so that is also accommodated. That means it is also been accepted. So an ideal federal system government must have mutual trust and agreement to live together. So for both the 2 points, we should have mutual trust, we should have the acceptance that we are going to live together. Certain agreement have to be done, certain sacrifices has to be done, so that there is no problem in the proper working. So these are the main key features of federalism, and these key features almost exist in one or the other form in a federal government. So if the balance of power sharing between the central and the state government, if there is only having, if a federal government is having only two levels or two tiers, so the balance between the power of the central and the state government, that also varies from one federation to another. That means one federal country, federation means one federal country to another, because it depends upon the historical content of their formation, how in that country federal working has been accepted, how various groups are being accommodated. According to that, federations are divided into two groups. Number one group is coming together federation. In this type, states, they come together on their own to form a bigger unit, and they have equal power and equally strong. That means they are equally stronger than, vice versa means they are stronger than the federal government. So whatever the government is being framed at the center government, the state governments, they are having, sometimes they are having more power, at least equal or sometimes they are stronger. So they come together, that means the state or the provinces, they are coming together, so that by pooling, that means by pooling means working together, sovereignty, retaining the identity, they try to retain their own identity also, so they can increase their security. Why they are coming together? Because they want to increase their security. State governments in this coming together federations, they are working on their own, they are having power equal to the federal government, but sometimes they are stronger than the federal government, that means the central government. So examples of coming together federations are USA, Switzerland, Australia. Now second category of federal government of federations are holding together federation. In this type of working, the central government tends to be more powerful than the state government. That means a country, it decides to divide its power between the constituent states or provinces and the central government. And examples of this holding together is India, Spain, Belgium. We have studied the example of Belgium in the previous chapter of power sharing. In this chapter, we are going to study how federal working is done in India. Now, India as a federal country. In our constitution, we have declared India as a union of state. It did not use the word federation. We are not using the word federation in a complete sense. We have divided our work in a federal way, but we are not saying that we are a federation. So the Indian Union is based on the principles of federalism. So our base is federalism, but we are not calling ourselves a federal nation. In the starting, when the constitution was written, we were having two tiers of government. Originally, two levels of government, that is union government, which is also called center government. In your books, in some places it is written union government, and in some place it is written center government. So it means the same thing. So two divisions are there, union government and the second one is state government. Third tier of system of government was added as a local government later on. In the year 1992, after decentralization, it was given acceptance in the constitution after 1992, even though it was also existing there. That means constitution has given acceptance to local government only after 1992, that is panchayat and municipalities. Normally we call local government panchayat because most of the Indian working at the local level is at the village level. So as municipalities, they cover cities. Now the constitution provided threefold distribution of legislative power between the union and the state government. So division of the work, it was divided in three ways between the central and the state government, and it was named three lists are there, that is union list, state list and concrete list. The residuary list was added later on. So number 1, union list, it includes subjects like defense, foreign affairs, banking, communication and currencies. All these works, they are needed all throughout the country. They need uniform policies throughout the country, so these subjects are entered into union list. Central government can make laws regarding these subjects of the union list. State list consists of subjects that are at the level of local importance like police, trade, commerce, agriculture, And in this concept, state governments, they can make laws related to the subjects of the state list. That means Rajasthan government has the subject, they take decisions according to themselves. In Gujarat, they are making decisions on their own regarding the subject of like police. So police of Gujarat, they work on their own laws that are framed by that state, and Rajasthan police, they work on their own. There may be differences in the working of both the states, and in this, center government does not interfere. They can give guideline, but they does not interfere in the working of the subjects that are enlisted in the state list. Now, concurrent list, it includes subject of common interest, both that are common in union and the state government. Some works like education, forest department, trade unions, marriage, adoption, all those things are in the concurrent list because they are working both at the central and as well as at the state level. So both state and union government, they make laws. They can make laws according to themselves on these subjects. But in case there is a conflict between the state and government and the central government regarding any of these subjects, then in that case the law made by the union will prevail. That means the law made by the central government will prevail because it is normally followed in the interest of the country unity. As a federal working, main concept is unity of the country. Now fourth list is residual list, the subjects that were not made in the constitution when the constitution was written, when the subjects that were left or that came into being after the constitution was written, they came into the list of residual list like IT department, now besides those four lists, federal working, for proper working, special status is provided to the union territories because we have studied only the working of the state central. Now some of, as you know, there are certain union territories in India also so they enjoy very little power as they are small in size. They can't be involved in the state government, neighboring state governments, so they were left as such, and they are called union territories. So they can't be made independent state also because population of these union territories was small. That is why when the population of Goa increased, it was converted into a state government. Now the central government has power of running the union territory. That means the working of union territory is under the central government. Besides these, our constitution has determined the extent of power sharing. It is the basic structure of the working of India. But parliament, it cannot change any of the work that is being declared, and if any change has to be made, first it has to be passed both by the both houses of the parliament with at least 2/3 majority. That means if any changes has to be made, it has to be passed in the parliament, majority has to be declared. Even after that, majority, even if majority is being declared, even after that it can be rectified by a legislature of at least half of the total states. So at least half of the states, they accept that changes. And in case of dispute regarding the division of power, the last option is of the High Court and the Supreme Court. They make a decision both union and the state government has the power to raise the resources by levying taxes. Various forms of taxes are being levied by the central and the state government. So these taxes are levied by the central and state government so that they can carry out their responsibilities what are being assigned to them in a proper manner. So taxes are a form of financial aid to the working of these government. We are going to study